I mean, that would not be the case if we look at some of this data as far as some of the young hiring. I know a lot of that has focused around what is the impact of AI, what is the technology sector doing as far as some of those young entrants. But at least we see a kind of broad step back that the labor market is taking right now.
But what about over 50-year-olds? They make more than a 30-year-old, right?
Sure.
And so they're just ruthlessly, it's ageism, right, Paul?
Yes, it is.
I mean, am I talking my book? Thank you.
Yep.
But it's ageism, right?
It has to be. But, I would say that there's a real question out there of, who is most, in position to take advantage of some of these new technologies, of really some of these skill development opportunities. And I don't know if kind of the youngest or the oldest are benefiting the most right now.
University of Florida is in Gainesville, Florida. For some reason, I thought Gainesville was at or near the water. It's nowhere.
It is nowhere near.
It's smack in the middle of the state. I mean, who puts a university there? But anyway,
some heavyweights came out of Florida. Bill Dudley came out of there. Rebecca Patterson.
Gina Martin Adams came
Glenn
out of there.
Hubbard came out of there. Mitchell Barnes came out of there.
Awesome.
And we're getting ready for football season.
Yes,
I mean, you can't be saying that on the game day week.
Yeah, there you go. Good stuff. All right, talk to us about just the wage environment out there. I mean, who's got the leverage these days with wages?
Yeah, I think the question has always been, the worker leverage and coming down into this slowdown that we've seen over the last 12 or 18 months. Obviously, a lot of that was coordinated by the Fed. But if you look past, into this year, what does this last 6 months of performance look like? And I think we are really seeing kind of a divergence of where we see strength in the labor market. I think we are seeing kind of a broad base back, as I had said. But I think a lot of that is around kind of the retention struggles that employers were having. And I think we have seen those largely recede. But some of the in-demand skills, some of those labor shortages, whether construction, healthcare, some of those in-demand fields, we still see strength.
A term I'd never heard of prior to the pandemic was kind of hoarding of workers. Yeah. I'd never heard that before.
I agree.
What is that? Is it real? How does it manifest itself?
I think this is one of those questions that we have always kind of been trying to drill into the last several years. I think we have seen the quits rate. So I think, you have seen at least the opportunities on the worker side also diminish.
Okay.
So I really think that we are seeing an environment where the turnover, both on the employer side, really thinking back past to those last several years, some of those struggles to rehire out of the pandemic.
One final question. Do you have in your head a tip point unemployment rate for a calm Fred or a fractured Fred? I got a 4.3% survey for September 5, the August report. Does Mitchell Barnes have it as had the number where it unravels?
I think it is one about the level. I think, 4.6, 4.7 when we start to push that. But I think more so what Powell and some of these folks are looking at is going to be the pace that we get there.
Yeah.